tell me, so when did you start to think, well, maybe this isn't right? Maybe this isn't me?
So, so after this initial period where I just got kind of like angry and horny, um, then kind of like the emotional side effects of testosterone kind of started to set in. And I've heard a lot of trans men say the same thing. I don't know, Buck, if you can relate to this, let us know. But for me at least, and for some other trans men that I've talked to, on testosterone, your Benjamin Boyce describes it as like your emotional palate. And on testosterone, your emotional palate reduces. And so
Yes.
I just found myself, it was almost like excruciating the way that I was having all of these intense emotions that I'd always had. Like I was a very emotional and troubled teenager. And then once I started testosterone, it's like all of those emotions just got condensed down into rage. And I was uncontrollably angry and like it was like this fire inside of me that was pretty just, I don't know how else to describe it, but painful. And to top that off, I stopped being able to cry. So when I would get so overwhelmed that before testosterone, I would already have been bawling for an hour. On testosterone, I couldn't cry. I had no outlet other than
Rage.
rage. And I took that rage out on myself. And I was self injuring a lot. And just, I would have these, I guess, like mental breakdowns that I never had before testosterone and I have not had since I quit. But I would have these mental breakdowns where like the emotions and the rage would get so much that I would just like, I would completely see just red. I would stop thinking clearly and I would just start like destroying things. I would start hitting myself. I would start cutting myself. Like, not good, not good. I was pretty much a certified crazy person at that point. And I ended up being hospitalized twice. And this was just like the worst, the worst case scenario for how testosterone can go for a person, I think. And after a year and a half of that shit, um, I, I had already started kind of thinking like, for all the years before I started testosterone, when I would look forward into my future and think about what my life would be on testosterone, I saw this like amazing life where I could just be free and be myself as a man. And oh, I can wear tank tops and not have to wear a binder after I get top surgery and like all this kind of stuff. I never envisioned that. I never envisioned the pure misery that I was in. And so that became a point of like cognitive dissonance where on the outside I was saying like, oh, I'm so happy that I transitioned. I'm so glad that at least I'm not as dysphoric or whatever, even though I was still pretty dysphoric or I still hated my body. But on the inside, I was starting to kind of get really sick of where my life had gone, like how deep down into the hole my life had gone. And then one day I had an epiphany where my ex made this video that was a montage of photos of us throughout our relationship. And we met pretty much the day after I started T. So it was like basically a montage of my life on T up until that point over like a year and a half. And it was in chronological order too. So I was watching these photos and I just watched myself kind of transform from what looked like, a slightly like tomboyish, confused, not very happy girl to just like what I saw in my eyes as I looked at the pictures. I saw like a total wreck of a human being, just like a very sad, unhappy, damaged human being. And that's just kind of when it finally clicked, the dam broke that like this was a huge mistake.